The core focus of my business has always been mainly the service side of it, but at this point in time it also includes sales and support and the continued service to our clients. I've always been the mechanic. In the 22 years that I've run my business, I've been the mechanic where the technical side and the consulting side, and I still prefer it and I still enjoy it, and I've employed staff to look after the officer side of it. The challenges that I face at Ritzy IT are finding qualified and experienced staff. Within our industry itself is near impossible at this point in time finding those qualified staff. And at this point, because of the ability to physically train them, we've made a decision to train staff and to get to the point that we now physically employ people more on attitude with the willingness of getting trained. All right, only recently itself has Ritzy IT started employing sales staff, and 3 years ago I employed my daughter Danielle as the marketing and sales manager. Since then itself, with her marketing diploma, she's done amazing things itself with our websites, keeping that up to date, our SEOs, our branded emails, our signatures within our emails. And that has physically enhanced, and even though it might be a little bit for each little section that is done itself, it adds up to the greater good of the business. On top of that itself, we've had a loyalty program that we started more than 4 years ago now, that's given away 1.5 million rand to our customers. How does the loyalty program work? It's physically 10% of the rebates that I receive from Pastel I give back to the client, so 10% of that invoice, and the clients can use it in any way they want with our services. When Ritzy IT started 22 years ago, my business was very IT hardware orientated. Pastel at 850 Rand at that point in time was just too expensive. I wrote my own accounting package. But down the line I bought Pastel, and it just happened by mistake, by pure luck itself, that more and more clients via word of mouth realized that I was able to support the product purely because I was using it internally ourselves. So when I did an IT/networking job, do you know how to do Pastel? And I did it. And slowly but surely itself, because for some reason the billing of accounting software was more acceptable than IT hardware, people paid me, thanked me, and said, "I hope to see you again soon." With the hardware side, it wasn't possible. So due to that fact, Sage, or at that time Pastel, was becoming more and more prominent in my business, to the point that about 10 years ago I gave up the hardware IT side of it, and that's all Ritzy IT focuses on, is Pastel accounting, Pastel payroll, Pastel evolution. A very big portion of rebates goes to our budget in training. Our training budget is huge in our business. I think I reiterated that earlier, that staff is a big issue in our business, and training is required to make sure that I'm able to give that service to our clients. And the rebates itself physically finance that side of it. But as I have mentioned before, I've got a Ritzy loyalty program, or Ritzy Rands, and the rebates itself, a big portion of that, or 10%, or it works out to a higher percentage, physically goes back to our clients, and they're able to physically use it to purchase anything with Ritzy. It has to have a double-edged advantage for Ritzy IT, because those points itself go back to the consultants towards their commission, towards their targets, and it becomes a measurable method of giving something to the clients instead of just free telephonic support. So it becomes something that I'm able to do. Sage Pastel Payroll holds a lot of seminars, workshops, webinars, and due to those we physically go and attend as many of them as possible, if not all. On the webinars, yes, it's a bit more difficult because of the time. For some reason it's a bit different, but over time it has become a bit easier to physically take part in those. Also due to Sage Pastel Payroll's fantastic payroll administrator course, which physically aligns themselves to the South African Institute of Tax Practitioners. I've got, I think, 4 or 5 staff members which are members of SITE, and that allows us to have all the emails plus the seminars that we have to physically attend purely for our points to stay tax practitioners. And thanks to Pastel Payroll itself, we physically have that ability to do that. I'm also an avid reader of current affairs. I also surround myself with people itself that know more than I do, so we often have debates and keep up to date on that side. Advice to my competitors or people wanting to start up is to look after your clients. Your clients are your gold. They're the gold at the end of a rainbow that is hard to get to. You know, it's a rainbow itself is a upward step itself before you get to the downward towards the pot of gold. There's an annuity money at the end of our clients itself. They're paying annual license fee. They're expecting something from the annual license fee. And that expectation itself is service. And if you don't look after them, they'll go somewhere else. So the secret is to physically increase that annuity billing, that guaranteed money, but is guaranteed only if you look after your clients. So clients are finicky, but in the end itself, if you physically give them the service, no matter how difficult the client is, it will bring the rewards expected. I've seen a lot of my competitors itself achieve #1 status in 1 year, never to be heard about again. And I think the secret is to physically get up to the top, and once you're at the top itself, the most difficult is to stay at the top. And I don't mean always be #1, but I would say be the top 3, top 4 on a regular basis itself. And that, I think, is a show of character in a business in terms of continuity. It's easy to make big sales very quickly, but in the end itself, the ability to implement, to give that service to a client, making them happy on an ongoing basis is the secret of making sure that they stay with you. Integrity, honesty, respect is another one. If you can't do something, say so. Don't physically sell something just for the sake of selling it and hoping to physically put money in the bank, because what happens is that client will physically advise all his friends and every associate itself that it didn't work, and that physically is always more harmful, and it's always more difficult to make a new client versus keeping a client. And keeping a client is not that easy neither, but in the end it is more important than physically making a new one.